Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Hot Kitchens. Today we'll be interviewing Vincent DiSalvo from DiSalvo Contracting, but first we're coming to you from 25 Columbus Circle, also known as One Central Park. This is apartment 72B, which is one of the original duplex apartments designed by Related. On today's episode, we're gonna make tuna tartar. Start off by making sure you buy sushi grade tuna. Cut it up into small 1 centimeter cubes and add it to a bowl. Add some spring onions and mix, sesame seeds, which you can toast for extra flavor, a little bit of soy sauce, some salt, and lime juice. Then we're gonna start on our avocado mix. Take ripe Hass avocados, add lime, salt, spring onions, olive oil, and chili to taste. Using a stainless steel ring, add your avocado and form a base. Then take the tuna and put it on top and form it so that it's firm. Remove the ring, add some toasted sesame seeds to taste, and ponzu sauce, and enjoy. You can either eat it with a fork, sliced bread, or potato chips. Enjoy. For this tip of the week, I just want to mention that I prefer to use non-plastic cutting boards and also not something that's a true hardwood board. This is actually some sort of composite made by Epicurean where the flavors don't get baked into the wood, but I'm also not worried about any sort of plastic pieces coming off while I'm chopping. Today, we have the pleasure of sitting down with Vincent DiSalvo from DiSalvo Contracting. Thanks for joining us, Vincent.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your family's business and what you guys have been doing for the past 50 years or so in New York.
Family-owned business started by my dad in 1977. We have only specialized in high-end residential since that time. We primarily renovate co-op condo apartments, townhomes, with some new construction. Primarily here in Manhattan, but some work outside of the New York City area as well.
And where are you guys based?
In Brooklyn.
Great. Well, as a guest on Hot Kitchens, there's a couple of standard questions we like to ask all of our guests. So, what is the one kitchen appliance that you personally kind of can't live without?
My family personally, I wouldn't say it's the most essential appliance for most folks, but for us, with a large family, we have found the warming drawer to be pretty handy because cooking large meals for large families, we've had 2 warming drawers and sometimes 3 in other homes. It comes in very handy for large gatherings. Many kitchens can't fit warming drawers, so some ranges have high shelves with lights built in, integrated, that serve a similar function. But that's one feature that we've always found to be very useful that you may not find in every kitchen.
And what's the primary difference between a warming drawer versus just turning your oven down to 200 degrees?
Well, there's a big difference. A warming drawer would just maintain a consistent low temperature, and it's also sealed, so it'll retain the humidity, the moisture, where an oven will just continue to cook and dry out whatever you have in there.
So the next question that we always like to ask is, what's one of your most favorite memorable meals? And whether it's a restaurant or it sounds like your family cooks a lot, maybe it's a family meal you guys had once.
Well, my wife happens to be an amazing cook. I come from a family of terrific chefs, and I can talk about this for hours or days. So aside from all of the holiday gatherings we've had over the years, we had an experience, my wife and I, on an anniversary trip. We were in Modena, Italy, and our kids made a reservation at a 3 Michelin star restaurant, Francescana, Osteria Francescana. Mm-hmm. We went to a Massimo Vetturo restaurant, which was an interesting experience, something we don't do too often. So that was a pretty special experience for us.
So Vincent, I don't want to ask you a question like which one of your children is your favorite, but is there a kitchen design or project that you worked on that stands out as one of your most memorable?
A few different kitchens that are memorable for different reasons. Years ago in the early 90s, I did a kitchen that I was much younger, but it stood out, has always stood out. It was an older couple from Sweden. They bought a pied-à-terre on Beekman Place on the river. It was a small kitchen. All they wanted was the ability to, to open a pair of French doors and step out on a little balcony that they had just off their kitchen and have their morning coffee on the river, because it reminded them of their home in Sweden. And I never forgot that. It was not a glamorous big kitchen, but it had a beautiful little table on the balcony, and just something that always stood with me. That kitchens don't have to be enormous
big,
and glamorous.
yeah.
It's just something that is intimate and special to the owner and the user. Another one that has always stood with me was one that we did right here on the Upper West Side, the Beresford, many years ago, where the owners bought in the building for its history, and the original kitchens that were done in the building were done by St. Charles when the building was built. And this kitchen happened to be intact with maybe a dozen coats of paint, if not more. So we removed all of the kitchens, all of the cabinets, and stripped every one of them down and decided which we could use and refurbish, and tried to reassemble as much of the kitchen as we could in its original condition, and then supplemented other parts of the kitchen and turned it into a functional, quasi-contemporary, quasi-original kitchen, with a lot of ingenuity to make it a functional kitchen. That was one that we collaborated with between the owner, the designer, the architect, and my team, and it turned into a really beautiful kitchen that worked well.
How often does it turn out that the space kind of drives the design versus the client forcing a design into a space that you might not think is the natural historical fit for it, but is what they're looking to do?
That's a very good question, because working in an apartment, typically we are restricted to working within the confines of the space that we're given. So it's not as though you can blow out a wall in a home and just add an addition. So we have to work with what we're given and make the best use of it. So more often than not, we try to work with what we have.
There, yeah. Been spending the last few years hearing about the changes coming to New York City between gas ranges and electric ranges, which most people are looking for induction. What do you find is, have you found that people are quick to adapt to that, or are they fighting against it as much as they can and trying to get, gas whenever they can get it?
We find that, our clients that are true chefs are resisting induction. Folks, especially, folks that like to stir fry and really cook on hot flames, are insistent on gas. Although, there is a lot you can do with induction. I don't claim to be an expert chef, but in some cases we have both. There are, you can do a combination, but most of our clients, I would say, are not expert chefs. They just need basic function.
Want something that looks nice.
But that's right, and a lot of our kitchens never get used whatsoever.
That's a shame. That's such a shame.
Yeah. But we do have some that have insisted. In fact, we're building a duplex on Park Avenue right now, where the gas service was not adequate. It was actually leaking. We had to turn off the gas. It's a pre-war building, and we are running new gas service up to the penthouse level. These clients insisted on having gas. They also wanted gas fireplaces. So we went to great lengths to get them gas service. Yeah.
And I assume that there must be concerns for certain buildings and certain setups where the electricity requirements for an induction range and just all the other appliances that come along, if you're going fully electric, it must be a much higher load that they need.
It is. It requires more. That's easy to determine. We do load calculations, and we know that in advance. What we are advising clients initially is to be prepared for an eventuality of losing gas service, either in your particular building or possibly in the city, large sections of the city at some point. So whenever possible, we are providing backup electric service to some projects that we're building, so that if they do lose gas in the apartment, the electric is already in place to switch over the appliances.
So that kind of leads to my next question, which is that what do you do as a firm in order to try to stay ahead of changes that are coming in the marketplace, aware of what design trends might just be trends and fads versus something that's going to stay long term? How do you kind of not only prepare yourselves for that, but also prepare your clients?
Well, in some cases, it's that sort of thing, just trying to read the tea leaves, know what's coming down the road in terms of regulation, in terms of efficiency. In other cases, it's about knowing what the individual client's needs may be down the road. We also ask our clients what their long-term goal is for the home that we're building, if they plan to be there long-term, if they feel a need for possibly eventually having live-in help. It all depends on the individual client. But in terms of anticipating what we have to do as an industry, obviously right now AI is big in the future. We don't know what the ramifications of AI will be fully for our industry, both in terms of construction and in terms of how it's going to impact how we live. We know it's going to bring on dramatic changes. I don't think we fully get, aside from automation, we know it's going to automate things, but to what extent? Will we come home and as we step onto the elevator, will the kitchen start preparing our dinner like as if we
That'd be great.
Star Trek? So we don't really understand all of those impacts. But in terms of regulation and in terms of staying ahead of the trend, and as of right now, we're installing gas detectors over everyone's range, which is a new regulation here in New York City.
Right. So I'm sure people love having one more thing plugged in that they didn't design for.
And they're just lovely too.
Yeah.
They're just beautiful.
Very attractive.
Yeah, exactly.
DiSalvo Contracting has been in business for about 50 years now. So I'm sure there are lessons that when your father started the business, he handed down to you. What are the lessons that you are looking to share with the next generation of designers, contractors, architects that you're working with who are looking for some guidance?
We always understand that in any project, we do our best to anticipate potential obstacles, potential delays, possible problems along the way. But inevitably, there are some bumps that we encounter. So 9 out of 10 times we deal with them internally. Clients never hear about them. It's just part of the process. Occasionally they're more significant. So we always try to encourage coming up with a solution before we bring the problem to the owners and explain, here's the problem, here are the potential solutions. We have A, we have B, we have C, here's what we recommend. It took us a lot of time to understand that we have clients that are busy, and they as over the years our clients like us have evolved, and we now work with people that oftentimes we never meet. We work with their representatives, so we try to shield them from details and minutia, and we just move on with the process. But occasionally there are things that they need to know, and so we have to involve them. From the designers and architects' perspective, when we work with people that we're not familiar with, we just, from the time that we receive details and specifications, we try to gauge anything that we feel is incorrect or potentially just lacking a bit in detail. We try to flush that out so that we know in advance what things might be a potential problem or concern, so that again, we can avoid potential obstacles down the road. I try to impart that on all of our teams because we've done this for so long now. It's not as though we build shopping malls or we build in other countries. What we do is, although not routine, it's somewhat routine.
Right. You know what to expect most of the time.
We have a process. So
So communicate is the answer.
Communicate effectively and quickly.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people don't understand that in a service business like ours, you have to do whatever you can to remove the pain of whatever the process is that this person's going through. And otherwise, why hire a professional to do it?
That's right.
for me in my business, and a lot of us at Brown Harris Stevens, our focus is largely on the relationship that we have with our customers. Oftentimes, we might be working with multiple generations within one family. Sometimes that means doing small rentals for the children, bigger sales for the parents, and it's all part of the process. Is that something that you face a lot in your business? Do you get to work with multiple generations?
When I started doing this, every one of my clients could have been my grandparent. I'm now working for clients that could be my grandchildren. So
in the same families?
In the same families.
That's amazing.
Multi-generations. We've done multiple homes for the same clients. We're about to work for same clients in the same building for the third time.
Wow.
Who have
same apartment?
We did one apartment for them about 12 years ago. They bought a different apartment in the same building for a better view, higher floor, and now they just bought an adjacent apartment.
Oh, wow.
To combine. Another client called and said, we're just adding space to an existing space. Would you do that for me? I said, we've been working for you for so long. We would come and do a closet for you. Why would you even ask?
Right.
So, but yes, we are doing children's and outside of the city, even in Astoria, Long Island City. It's all about relationships.
What would you say how much of your business is referral based versus genuine new business?
It's all of our work has always come through referral, through word of mouth, through architects or clients that we've worked for. Genuine new business out of just very, very little. It's really always through a recommendation from a friend or from someone.
Right, and that's a great way to have the business. When it comes to pricing, a lot of people kind of look at a project on a price per square foot basis. Do you feel like there's expectation these days where something will come in, whether it's remodeling or whether it's a full brand new gut job?
Yes, there are some folks that come to us with unrealistic expectations, and I'm sure you've seen them.
Yes, of course.
And we get calls from people and they say, you can do it for X amount, right? And we say, yes.
And timeline too.
And timeline.
Yeah.
The timeline is usually the most unrealistic part of things because we know the process, the building process, and then the Department of Buildings process. So, I won't mislead people. We'll always tell them what it will actually take. And as far as the cost of a renovation, we try to break that up into two parts. There's what we call the white box, the base construction, which usually doesn't vary very much. If, a client wants new bathrooms, new kitchen, new electric, new air conditioning, it's X amount. And we'll give a range between X and Y,
right.
And that won't vary very much.
And they can always decide that they're going to use custom Italian this, or they're going to buy a toilet from Japan or something like that, and that's their choice.
And that's the next part of the equation, the finishes, and that's where the variation really comes in. So that's where they have much more control over cost, because the base construction usually is what it will be, and it's dictated by building requirements and by what the actual costs are.
Cost of labor.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, if you had to say what makes a DiSalvo project a DiSalvo project, what makes you guys different from some of your competitors, and what do clients who maybe have used other people tell you is the difference when they come to you?
Well, I appreciate you asking. I think one advantage that we have over a lot of our very qualified competitors is that we're a little unique in that I have a brother who's my partner. We divide our responsibilities. My brother's in the office. He manages internal operations, rarely leaves the office, rarely has a need to. I am rarely ever in the office. I rarely ever have a need to be there. I am out in the field. I'm meeting clients. I'm on the job sites, which is what I enjoy doing. So I get to stay close to the clients and maintain a relationship with clients, with architects and designers. Although I don't really need to be there because we have a team that's out there that that really manages things. But it allows me to do what I like to do, which I really do enjoy doing. I live on the Upper East Side, and I walk to all of our job sites, or subway or taxi. And I think it's unusual for a firm that's our size that the principal is on the job sites as often as I am. And it's an advantage that, I feel that we bring that a lot of other firms our size can't bring.
I love that. Hands-on. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Before you leave us, just one more question. For someone who is going through this process, whether they're just starting out or they are halfway through, what do you think the most important piece of advice is, whether they're working with DiSalvo or another contracting company, that someone makes sure they are doing during this process?
Well, we always advise our clients to try to stay close to the process, regardless of how many homes they've built and regardless of how certain they are of the decisions they've made, because it's just human nature to sometimes second guess yourself or sometimes change your mind later in the process. I've built homes myself and changed many things in the process. It's always good to keep an eye, if you can't be on site while the home is being built, at least get photographs, FaceTime, whatever you can do to see things as they're being built, especially the finishes as they're going in. Because as much as we think we understand what we're seeing in drawings and renderings, it sometimes looks different in 3D on site. We have had way too many projects where clients have come in infrequently or sometimes not at all, and then late in the process they've come in and seen things that they were not expecting or didn't realize were going to be what they turned out to be. And
that's challenging for everyone.
It's challenging, it's disappointing, it's not an outcome that anyone wants to see.
Right.
Or sometimes clients just completely changes their mind. They realize this is what I chose, I changed my mind when everything is done.
Right. And the earlier they find that out, though, the better, obviously.
Sure. It's not something that we want to see happen at for any reason. So it's just best if possible in any way to stay close to the process.
Stay involved.
That's right.
All right, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us on Hot Kitchens by Brown Harris Stevens. See you soon.